kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Hashtag look it up. Hashtag look it up. Hashtag look it up.
What is this? Where am I?
Let's make the process into the bank of knowledge. Welcome back to the Trebles Show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Trebles Garcia. And I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today. And I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. Guys, we have an amazing episode lined up with an amazing special guest. I can't stop stressing so much. I love spending time with this guy. But before anything, I want to make sure that you guys are reminded to go to the search bar and hashtag look it up. Drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify and on YouTube. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Make sure you guys subscribe, leave a comment, and freaking engage. Guys, the YouTube channel is freaking growing, and I'm excited to share every single episode and moment with you guys. Now, happy Valentine's Day. I think this episode is dropping early February, so if you guys are watching it, happy Valentine's Day. Make sure you guys give love to your loved ones, to your wives, to your husbands, and to your fathers, and to your mothers, and also your daughters and sons. Make sure everybody share the love, and do not forget to engage. Drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. I already told you that. All right, let's go. Guys, let's jump in from the deep end of the pool and set the freaking mood. My next special guest has been here before. He is no stranger to the danger. He is the host of the Ancient Enigma Files. Joe, what's up, big dog?
I'm man Trebles, man. I told you, dude. I've said it before, and I'm not joking, man. When I die, dude, you got to do the intro of my funeral, man. That's all it is, man. It's already wrote in my will, dude. I'm gonna fly you out there, man. Just have you do the intro, bro. Do that for me. I'm good, man. I'm good.
I freaking love it.
Thanks for having me on the show again, man. Thank you. Thank you.
Yo, how can I not have you on the show, bro? You're a big contributor to the show in many different ways. I'm gonna be honest with you, and like again, the growth has to be. I have to show some gratitude because of the growth to you and to other people that have collaborated and showed me the ropes, and also loyalty, bro. The loyalty you bring to the table is amazing. Yo, where can people find you? Let me know about your show.
My name is Joseph. I'm the host of Enigma Cast on my YouTube channel, The Ancient Enigma Files. That is literally only two words you need to know. I'm on every single major streaming platform on the world. You go to it. Even just talk to your Alexa, tell her to play Enigma Cast, and I'll show up, man. I actually came in pretty lucky, very fortunate, been blessed with that. I don't have any competition with that name, man. Enigma Cast is me. You type it in, you get me, right? So yeah, or the Enigma Files, right? And if you go to any of my stuff, man, if you land on any platform, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Rumble, Spotify, my link tree's there, and you can find it on any place that you like to watch your shows. You can go check it out, man. So
that's right, the Ancient Enigma Files. You can find him on the description of the show, and also, like he just said, Enigma Cast. Google that shit. Hashtag look it up. That's right, yo. All right, I'm here to hijack one of your episodes. I just have to
do it.
All right. You said something very important, and you posted something about mermaids. You know, it's funny, bro. This is gonna go against all myth, lore, and people that think of the Earth is flat or the Earth is hollow or a simulation like myself. Everything connects to this. Do you first? This is a right off the bat. Do you think that mermaids are us evolved in the water?
So first of all, I got a pretty strong theory on that, man. But I have to, in all humility or self-deprecation here, I got to poke a little joke at myself. So I didn't take this mermaid topic serious, man. And look, so I have people that send me things, right? And they ask me to take a look. Troubles, I have a unique style of breaking down topics and analytics and looking at things, right? Pattern recognition and stuff like that. And there's 2 times on my show out of 107 episodes that I've done that I've had to eat my words. Right?
Congratulations on Big 100.
Thank you. I've had to eat my words, and I've had to come out and say, okay, y'all was right and I was wrong. I didn't take this mermaid topic has been sitting in my in basket, man, for 6 months, right? And there's a reason why I let off the gates with it in 2026. I didn't want to do it. I thought it was weak. I thought it was fairy tale land. I thought it was, you know what? There's only one other time. The second other time I had to eat crow on my show was the freaking chupacabra. Like there's actually something to that in Puerto Rico in 2019.
Oh yeah.
There's something. So yeah. So if you watch my show, right, there's a baseline premise that I have, man. We can talk about anything, but unless something happened, unless there's something there, we can argue about what it is, where it came from, what it is, what it do, what it be, whatever. But it has to be something. And I thought mermaids, man, were just a made up myth, fairy tale story about freaking mermaids and sirens. Actually, I gotta be honest with it.
Mhm.
Thought it was a joke, bro. I thought this was some trash. I thought this was some Disney thing. You know, it was a pale white girl with a half fish body with D cups and a mermaid
Oh
and
yeah.
seashells and red hair, right? That ain't what they are. But I tell you what, Trebles, I tell you what, God has a way of humbling people, man. When I got into this and I dug into this, I will tell you right now, I will bet your next mortgage payment, anybody watching this, that these things and when I say are, I can back up that they are still 100% a thing. And I got the receipts to prove it, bro. I got the receipts to prove it,
The
man.
way
And
he
again,
worded that, 100% a thing. I love that.
they're a thing, bro. What these things are, what these things are, bro, depends on the lore that we can get into here to look at it, man. But I can tell you that this does meet the bar test for Enigma Cast, that this is something. This is something. And I'll tell you what my own personal opinion is of it. Man, I got to tell you, man, they're older than us. They've been here longer than us. The lore goes back to African verbal tales coming out of this clan, I want to say on the Gold Coast, actually, of Africa, where it came back. The Dogon tribe, actually, the Dogon tribe talks about these creatures coming from the sky in an egg and hitting the water, and they were half fish, lily fish, right?
Shut the front door.
Yeah, man, it's true, man, it's true. Like I said, as we get into this, man, I'll tell you that's just one of 1,000. I had to stop pulling threads, bro. And I can tell you the truth. I could write a book on this. I'm not even lying, man. I could sit down and write a 10-chapter book on this, man. And I'll tell you what, I would let anybody take it to task. And there's a reason why that they have romanticized these creatures
Uh-oh.
to look like something that
Mm.
they're not totally like, brother. So yeah, let's get into it, man. So to answer your question, man, could they be us? I don't think they are, man. I think there's something completely different, and the U.S. government knows about it, and they've told
Okay.
us to our face. So where do you want to
Okay.
start, brother?
I have to start with like, look, now that you said they are not, I had in my brain the theory that bipedal apes and all these types of bipedal cryptids or creatures or all these other entities that exist are a portion of us, maybe different species that aliens spliced us up or whatever. Yeah, I like to think that all these things exist at the same time.
So there's a path on that, right? And again, man, it's hard for me to say the word mermaid without chuckling, man. Just like I can't say the word duende without cracking up a little
100%.
bit.
100%. Yeah, and I know that duende situation is
Yeah, exactly, right. And
1000%
you know
real.
that's my
Yeah.
favorite one, man. But I will tell you this, that during my research, before we get into this, there are three cryptids, right?
Mhm.
That cross. I will say that they cross the boundaries of region, religion, and language. And
Oh
wait for
man.
it. Here's the fourth one, time, right? And I'll give you an example. A lot of people think that Sasquatch is the most reported cryptid. I've talked about this. It's not. It's actually
Mm,
the Duende, right?
mm,
The
mm.
Duende is the most talked about, most reported cryptid you'll find on the entire planet. Duendes do not show up in Central and South America until the Spanish do. They don't show up into the Philippines until the
Huh.
Spanish do, right? Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, they don't happen. It doesn't happen. And they're as far up as northeast as Massachusetts in America, and they have a different name up there. They call them the Pugwudgies. There's
Mm,
actually right now people talking about seeing these crazy gnomes in Utah, right? These are Duendes, right?
mm.
The second one is Bigfoot, right? Bigfoot descends time, religion, from the Himalayas down to the swamps of Florida. They talk about these creatures, right?
Mm.
And I'll tell you what, the dog man is getting close recently, but bro, the only other cryptid that will cross space, oceans, religions, cultures, and language are these freaking mermaids, and I got the names for them all, right?
Whoa.
Yeah, Japanese sailors, and they weren't Japanese were coastal sailors. The Japan never sailed across the ocean back in the day, right? They never did.
Okay. Okay.
They never had, and Japan was people. Another thing that people don't realize that Japan is the single oldest living currently civilization today. Every other civilization on the planet, you can't name it, has risen and fallen. Japan has never. Japan has been Japan since the beginning of time. It's
Shut
never
the
been.
front door.
Yeah,
Look at that
yeah,
go.
it's never been conquered, right? Japan's never been conquered. They're the only ones to repel the Mongolian tribe, the Mongolian horde. They did it twice, right? But they have a word for mermaids. Describe it the exact same way. They describe it exactly how the Vikings, the Slavics, the Danes, and the Nordics do, and they never came into contact with these people. Never, ever will you find a story of a Viking longboat pulling into downtown Yokohama or Sapporo, their harbor plants, and you'll never hear of the Vikings talking about the Japanese just didn't do it, right? So there's something to these creatures, man. There is something to it, right? And like I said, this is a legitimate phenomenon. If you can get past the chuckle of the term mermaid, right? And there's a legitimate phenomenon in here. And I have 2 pages, man, of all the words that they call them for, right? So yeah,
Okay.
not to take the air out of
Let's
the
filter.
conversation.
Let's filter it down. Let's filter it down. So your theory, or what after you,
Mhm.
I love the fact that you brought some history because history really gives it a flavor to it. It gives
Right.
it something in your subconscious to connect it to
Yeah.
because everybody and their mamas has connected mermaids to cartoons,
Yeah.
animation, et cetera, and et cetera. What
Yeah.
are the names that they call them?
So literally. So right here, man. So look, you can go back to this too, right? The ancient Near East, again, ancient Near East, Mesopotamia. We're talking Babylon, modern day Iran, Iraq, Persia, that whole area
Mm,
right there, man.
mhm,
They called them the Kululus, right?
mm.
And basically half man, half woman, half fish. Now this is another thing that's important. There's a male version of these beings. There's a male and female version of it, right? The Greece, the Greek, I'm sorry, they call them Nereids, right? The
Mhm.
Romans called them freaking Trinitones. The Celtics. Now this is important too. The Celtics, man, Irish, English, Welsh, what
Mhm.
Scottish, right?
Mhm.
This was not a sea-bearing culture. Ireland is the closest to Greenland than, basically on the islands moving over. They never sailed over there. You'll never hear about it. The Vikings passed them along the way, right? They
Mhm.
have 3 words for these things, man. And again, they call them Meros, the Morada, or the Moradukans, right? Depending on your
Mhm.
Scottish. The
Mhm.
Norris, and again, this is important too. Norris, your Vikings. The Slavs, kind of your Vikings, not really. They call them the Havaru or the Havamond, Halfamand, the Havamons, right?
Oh
And this is
yeah. Oh
important.
yeah.
And this is another thing too to put on there, right, about these Norris guys, right? These were serious dudes, right? These individuals, man, believed that in order for them to get to their God and their heaven, Odin and Valhalla, they had to die in battle. A lot of people don't know this, right?
Wow.
When a Viking got too old and he became a burden upon his family, they would jump off cliffs. So their families were
What?
not. Yeah, yeah. You can go look this up, man. The Vikings were serious people, right? And they were terrified of these creatures. And the reason why they were terrified is because the first really major naval power that you can go back. When I say naval power, I'm talking about having the ability to cross an entire ocean, the Atlantic, right? Was the Vikings. Every time they saw a Havamond, they lost ships, crews, storms. They were terrified. They also had this really uh and if you pull at any threads, right? You pull at any threads, right? Every myth has a drop of truth into it. They also had a very strange respect, fear like for fog. They hate for fog. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So Vikings did not like the fog. Strange demons came out of the fog, monsters came out of the fog, and every time that they were on the ocean and they were doing these things, and they encountered a Havamond, They knew a storm was coming, something was going to happen, right? And they lost ships, longbows, right? Is what they would call these ships, right? And as I want to point that out too, is because they never, you will not find a story of a man falling in love with a mermaid. It does not exist. It does not, you will not find it. That's a completely made up Disney thing. You won't have it. It's my research on this, right? Before I move on to the Slavics, my research onto this was it's basically about 70-30. 70% of the tales that you will look up will be they're terrifying. They'll steal you. They'll kidnap you. Grown men. They will kidnap you from a lot of time in rivers. People don't understand this too. I got actual receipts on rivers, Treb, river based, right? And
Whoa.
30% of the time they will help you, right? And you will never ever hear them described as being beautiful. Never. It won't happen.
Whoa.
Doesn't happen, right? The Slavics called them the Rusalaki. Africans called them the Mamiwatas. Ancient Egyptians. Now remember, people say, oh, bro, they had the Nile. The Nile River was right there, bro. And
Yeah.
the ancient Egyptians, right? They have hieroglyphs for it, but I can't even come close to pronouncing them, right? So you have to go look it up, man. Fish-tailed. You can't even look it up, man. And then here's where it gets where it takes off, man, into a whole nother realm, bro. In China, they call them the Jorons. In Japan, to this day, they call them the Ningos. And remember, Japan and I want to think Denmark are the only two cultures on the planet that currently will still hunt whales. Japan will do Arctic expeditions, right? And Denmark, I think, will go out and do it too as well. But then after that, right, bro, it's not over. These things are in the Amazon. You go down to the South America, Central America, right? They call it the South American river traditions, right? And the Caribbean traditions, right? But here's the weird
Whoa.
thing, bro. I couldn't find a name. They talk about them. And again, people, if you're looking at my show, you're like, oh, wow. If it ain't there, I'm not going to make it up. I could not find an accurate name of it, but you will find a lot of talk about it, right? And last but not least, homie, these things are reported to right now, right? The biggest single concentration of crazy mermaid stuff that you will find today is actually in Jamaica. To this very day, they call in Jamaica, they call them the water mamas, or something like that, the hotter mamas, right? They'll call them something like that, right? It's on my hold on, let me find that note, right? I'm sorry, the river mums. They call them river mums, man. And there's rivers down there in Jamaica. They say that if the water is muddy, don't go down to the river. The river mums will take you. Only go to the river when it's clear. And I had to stop looking. I could have kept going, dude. I could have kept going, man. Look for this
That's
stuff.
freaking nuts, man.
It's crazy, man. I know it's crazy, right? Look, I'm smiling for two reasons, man. Because we're two grown men talking about mermaids, right? And
Did you
bro,
go ahead?
bro, but I'm telling you, y'all, that I embarrassed myself by just dismissing this as freaking complete folklore, sailor myths made up by sailors on long voyages. These things have been around, and I haven't got the dates. I can tell you how long they've been around, man. They've been around for a long, 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 long time. And I've got accurate descriptions for them as too, if you want to get into that.
Okay.
Catch your breath, bro.
I have to ask you this question. Why did they romanticize it? Why?
So the reason why they romanticize it, man, is because okay, let me take a step back. Everything we've been taught about our history is a complete and utter lie at the macro level. At the micro level, they'll tell you truths, right? Like, okay, yeah, for example, they'll say at the micro level, oh, your governor is a good governor at the micro level. Right? Depending on what area or theater you're in, you'll believe that or you won't believe that.
Where?
So same, but at the macro level, when you pull up and you say, okay, let's compare them to the whole other, 49 states, it's different. The reason why they romanticize these mermaids, man, is because if you go back into the book of Enoch, mermaids were created when God punished the wives of the 200 angels that came down to corrupt mankind. And again, I just did a show on this.
Shut the front door. You just tied the Bible with it?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
So you see, yeah, for
Okay.
real. So that's why they fairy tale it, right? And the reason why, and again, if you read Genesis and you read the book of Enoch, it'll say that these 200 angels, these watchers come down. I know people are going to say, "Oh, it was the Anunnaki. Oh, it was angels." Hey, let's not argue. The not us's, the not you and me's, came down.
1000%. Yes.
Not us's, right? They saw our women. They wanted our women. They lusted our women, and it says they took our women. And the reason why you look through religions today and women wear the hijab, they don't even know really why they wear it, and the women wear the burqas, that was to keep them from getting snatched up by the watchers. If you go all the way back, it was to cover themselves. The Bible will even say if a woman has long hair, that's good. It's better for her to cover her face. But they leave out the last part so that the watchers don't see you and take you, right? But when it says take you, they never forced one woman to go with them. These women willingly married these beings, right? So when it says they took wives, it's like saying Trebles took a wife and had children. It's not a caveman thing where they took them.
Word.
They went with their own free will, and because of their own, because if you get into, I can put a little woo factor on this, man. When you get into theology and you get into the spiritual realm, and you realize that we're battling with spirits, there's one universal law that has to be always recognized. Somebody, I can't, I am drawing a blank on his name. I wish I could give him a good credit. If anybody knows this saying in the comments, please just put that out there and give this guy a reference. This guy will say that all Satan is and all the fallen angels are just evil or just angelic lawyers because they have to follow the law, right? And the universal law that they're not allowed to break is free will. So when you read about Zeus coming down, taking, so and so or whatever, he didn't take them by force. When you hear these, Greek mythology, right? All that. So when it's come full circle on this dog, they were this was their punishment. Their punishment was for, defiling themselves with these angels and embracing it. And they did evil. They did evil. They did evil as well. They were turned into mermaids, man, and sirens. They were turned into mermaids and sirens, man, and they were cast into the ocean, man. And that's
Into the depths. Let me tell you something. I
yeah.
gotta interrupt. Where
Yep.
this is so funny. Where did Legion go to when Jesus walked up to the man and he's like, "What is your name?" And he goes, "We are Legion."
Yep.
And then he goes, "I need you to leave this man." And then the demons tell Jesus, "Please don't cast us into the abyss. Let us go on to the pigs." And then Jesus goes, "Aloud."
Yep.
They leave the man, travel into the pigs. In a matter of minutes, the pigs go
Yes.
nuts and they throw themselves off the cliff and back into the abyss they went.
Back into the ocean.
In Revelations, it talks about monsters from the abyss,
Get them,
from
dog.
the depths of the freaking water, bro. This
Yep.
is 1000% true. This is not the way that you tied it up with historical facts, with the names and the cultures and the civilizations. That's great and all, but when you bring in Bible verses into it, and then theological verses portions into it, scientifically points, lore and myth, dog, everything meets that one point. That's
Yes.
where reality is at, man.
Yeah, and your government has already told you this to your face, and I'll tell you how you're missing it, right?
Whoa.
So, second thing right now, too, right? When you go into this, right? To piggyback on that, all the beasts from the Book of Revelations come out of the ocean, right? Here when it comes out too. So I was in November 2024. I was in DC, right? And I tell this all the time. I was at the UFO UAP hearings that were going up there. I was in the hallway. You can go to any of my channels. You can go in there and look for it, right? I met this man right here. That's Congressman Tim Burchett. He took a selfie with me. We had a good old conversation about UFOs and UAPs, right?
Mm.
Fast forward to the March of 2025 last year, April, May. He's going around telling everybody that he believes that there are 6 or 7 different alien species living in our oceans, right? And when I was at the UFO UAP hearing, a 2-star general was on the board that was testifying as well. And he said
Mm.
the exact same thing, that there are what they believe to be advanced civilizations living in our oceans. He said at the time 2 to 3. Tim Burchett rose the number. Tim Burchett's a great guy, by the way. He's the most down to earth politician I've ever met. And he says it's more along 6 or 7. Now, I'm going to fast forward you something a little bit further here as well to add that into it. If you look into I know this is going to sound crazy. I'm tying this into a lot of stuff, man. But if you look into cloning, the cloning technology that goes on, right? The difference between a human and a clone is that a clone doesn't have a soul, right? That's what they say.
Word.
I remember being in Australia back in the day. I set foot in, I was in a taxi cab in Australia. I want to say I was in Melbourne, Australia. Or I might have been in this place called Queensland, Australia. And they had just cloned a sheep, right? And they were making fun of us, saying that lock that sheep up. The Americans are here, like we were going to have that sheep, right? It was just kind of joke, right? We were
Mm.
having fun with it, right? But there's also people that have told me that these underwater civilizations, because if you go 3 miles off any coast, you're in international waters. And if people don't understand what that actually means, right? If you ever watch the old show Dexter, where he would go and dump his trash bags, and he was in international waters when he was doing it, because there is no law out there, right? And
Mm.
so, I've talked about this several times on my show in a related incident. I want to say in 2020, no, 2022 or 2023, the US Congress tried to pass a law banning animal human hybrids. But for some unknown reason, the Department of Homeland Security came in and said, no, we need this for pig transplants for human hearts. You don't know any person with a pig heart. You don't. You just don't. It just don't happen, right? You don't know them,
Mm.
right?
1000%.
And why would the DHS be doing what the NIH is supposed to, the National Institute of Health? But when you look at what the DHS does, they're responsible for our borders. And if you look at what DHS does also, they have jurisdiction over national parks. If you go missing in a national park,
Uh-huh.
the Forestry Service is not required to make a persons report. Also, the FBI will not investigate it. But you know who can go into the national forest? Department of Homeland Security. Because if you scrape away the layer, DHS has its hands all over animal human hybrid cloning. And if you don't think the United States of America has caught these creatures, tried to super soldier them, see how we could weaponize them, breed them. I got stories about that too that are getting really crazy. Breed them with humans to the point where they'll make movies about it, right? And also to the point where they will it's against the law. It's American. Look it up on the books. You are not allowed to. You know, you're not allowed to mess with dolphins. Not even talk with them or play with them. Do you know that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They in Hawaii in the late
Yeah.
1990s, I believe, or in
Yeah.
1980s, correct me if I'm wrong, hashtag look it up. There was underwater births with dolphin assistance.
Yeah.
And those
Yeah.
kids were growing with higher IQs with no
Yes.
illnesses and everything. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. These dolphins were coming up to women, gently brushing up against them, and they were having painless water childbirths, and their kids
Yes.
came out with crazy immune systems, crazy frontal lobe development where they had higher IQs and everything else along the way. There
That's not a
is,
lie. That's there's a reason why they banned it. There's
yeah,
1000%.
and that's the exact same reason why they have fantasized these or put these things away. I do not think in my research, I think dolphins are benevolent. I do. I do think that these creatures, I think that they are highly intelligent to the point where they can develop their own personalities. And I think there's different tribes and different looks across the globe as well that they could get into it to come with
Very
it.
complex. Very
I think it's
complex.
very complex, right?
Just like us on land.
Yes, for sure. For
Mm.
sure. And again, I got it. I gotta eat some crow, bro. Like I gotta say it, man. I gotta own this. Start. I didn't want to start 2026 like this, Trebs, but man, mermaids are real, dog. They're real. Mermaids are real, bro. They're absolutely real,
You know
man.
what, bro? It's funny, dog. It is funny that you say that. I believe it 1000%. I did it. That even the gene splicing. Do you actually think this is a movie? There's a movie called Splice.
Yep.
Check this out. It's about how an American company funded by private donors creates a alpha creature that has spliced DNA from the most powerful and adaptive predators on Earth with human DNA. This
Yep.
thing has a tail. This thing can morph and have wings. It has gills. It has a tail that has like a stingray on it. And it's awesome because once it's getting in the movie, and I'm wrecking the movie for you here, but just give fast forward. As the father of not the father, the male scientist starts looking at it, it starts flirting with it and smoldering, and it gets attracted to it and it wants to reproduce. And it's originally a female. The dude has sex with it. Check
Yeah.
this out. The dude has sex with it. And then it's funny because then later on, it switches its sex and then it has sex with the woman. And why am I telling you that? The reason I'm telling you this is because towards the end, once it switches its sex, it becomes stronger. It grows wings. It grows different fangs. The brain becomes bigger. It starts evolving at a faster rate. So they have to tell you, because of karmic retribution, what's
Yes.
really happening out there every single day. Who gets to tell you that's fiction or not? I read one of my original books when I was reading. It was Sylva Brown. She passed already. I was trying to look for her, and I just found out she passed. And she did a book called Secret Societies. And it's funny because one of the first books I ever read in high school. And I don't like reading. And she spoke about how you can alter your own reality by depending on your intent and your belief. So if you heartily believe in the mists in your brain, in your heart, that the world is flat, and you'll find evidence to prove that the world is flat. If you think that it's simulation and you 100% approve it, and your subconscious believes it, you start finding a evidence that it's a simulation, and so forth with the globe. And this is why we do not believe anything else with the globe, because our subconscious has been indoctrinated to believe that it's a globe, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So if you romanticize the mermaids being just fiction, animation with double D's and red hair and singing, that is what you want it to be. That's how you take off the seriousness out of it. Right?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, and that movie and that movie, to give you some, if you want to pull it on a thread, that movie you were talking about, that's the origin story for the Jersey Devil.
The Jersey Devil was born of a woman, wasn't it?
Yeah, they'll tell you that back in the day. No, I'm talking about so I did a show about the Jersey Devil, not the topic, right? There's legitimate stuff right there. But I'm talking about modern day sightings of the Jersey Devil. That was the inspiration for it. They tried to recreate it, and that's just to back up what you're saying. If we could take something and we could weaponize it, we will do it, right? And I'll even tell you, it's funny how God works. I'll even tell you how we've done it. People coming out of recently. So if you don't know, man, 20 American dudes flew down to Venezuela, killed 300 Cuban security guards, stole the president and his first lady, and they
All
did
I gotta say is, let me say something real quick. My president will kidnap your president if he doesn't behave. That's all I'm saying.
right, and they did it in 20 minutes, right? They did it in 20 minutes, and the survivors, there was about a 500-man security detail down there. The survivors said that a large portion of them were debilitated and they had blood coming out of their nose and their ears and their mouths, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
They were hit with, wait for it, some type of sonic weapon that they could not hear, right? Same thing that these sirens were able to do, and these mermaids are supposedly able to do, is that there's some frequency thing that they have that they are supposed to lull you to get closer to the water. And it's not by their beauty. It's not. These things are hideous, right? Not by their beauty. They don't have hair. They're completely fish-like, right? And but the upper part of their bodies does represent, I mean, it does resemble a male or a female torso, and they have webbed fingers with long claws. They're about 8 to 9 to 10 feet long, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And they have, and another thing too, they don't have fangs. They do have teeth like us, where we have our canines, right? That we have, they do have canines. They don't have fangs, right? And mermaids, I could not find, not one. I could not find one cannibalistic aspect about them. They do not eat you. They don't. I don't know what they do with you, but they do not. You will not find there. You'll never find a story of a mermaid that will kill you. They will pull you into the river, and you'll never be seen again. Right? I had a crazy theory on that as well. But they will not eat you. And the theory that I had on that is that all the original mermaids were women. They were no men. So they kidnapped the men to breed with these men to make their own offspring. And that just rolls into my head, man. So yes, but you're never seen again, right? No one ever comes back.
As above, so below. Listen, what did they do when they came down with our women? Yeah. Now, what did our women come up to do with our men? It's the same thing back and forth. The angels came down, they fucked them, they had all these abominations, and then later down the line, thousands of years after, the women come back up looking for another seed. Yeah.
And so you would think that so there's something to, again, man, I know when I talk about, again, I tie history into.
Dude, you're on fire, bro. No, let me tell you something. Yeah, Shut the front door, man.
Yeah, but I'll tell you.
What the heck?
I tie history into as many topics as possible as I can. And again, because I've learned that if I say something on the internet, I got to be able to defend it, right? And I got to be able to not always be right, but I got to be able to say, look, this is what I read. This is what I deducted from it, right? But like you said, if you go back to the earliest stories, it's all about reproduction. It's really all about reproduction when you get into it. Even when you go into conquests and you go into things like that, people say that, I'll use a perfect example, right? When the Romans pulled out from modern day UK, the Saxons came in. The Saxon army wasn't coming in because because the UK is some magnificent Shangri-La. It's not. They didn't have enough women where they were at, and they went there to make a new land, and they needed the farmland. They were starving where they were at. They couldn't grow crops, and there was no women for them, right? So they went there to do what? Kill the men, take the women, plant food. The exact same reasons, not the original Vikings, but the Danes. When the Vikings came into England and they had skirmishes, Ragnar Lothbrok, he was a real character. His son Ivar the Boneless, all that was based on real events, right? But they were there more for the prestige. They were there, and they weren't Danes. They weren't Danish, right? They were probably Slavic and some Slavic type people, but they weren't the Danes. When the Danes showed up, same reason, except they brought some females with them, right? Again, it wasn't all a man troop. So if you had about 1,000, men, 200 of them would have been women, shield maidens, and 800 of them. And again, that ratio is off. Period. It's just off, right? Mm-hmm. Usually, again, and this is where people get upset with me, but facts don't care about your feelings. I tell you this. In order for society to take off, if we had to start from zero, you need 1 man and 10 women, period. If you have 10 men and 1 woman, it ain't happening. We're dead. It's not going to happen, right? Society can't produce like that, right? Matter of fact, if you go back into ancient, I'm talking ancient before the shogun system showed up in Japan, the shinobis would take 3 wives for that reason. Three wives. It would be three wives for every one man. Obviously now things have changed, but there's your historical background on it. The Watchers came down for what? For women, for sex, for children. The Watchers were proud of their sons. They were proud of the Nephilim. They were so proud of them that God made sure that they watched all of them die. That was Gabriel's job, was to make sure the Watchers watched the sons of these guys kill themselves, or fight themselves to the death, right? But yeah, so there's something to this, man, about it. And again, man, to bring it to like to add in, to tie it into modernism, right? When I say modernism, I'm talking about the insanity that's encompassed the United States of America, with the truth coming out like at a fire hose speed. There's supposedly very wealthy individuals that have these things in fish tanks in their homes that are dead. Supposedly. One of those individuals, again, I could not find any evidence on this, but I had people send me TikToks. But again, TikTok's talking about where they got the information, not a TikTok about it, right? And again, thank you for sending that to me. But it's too, trust me, bro, for me to use it. When I'm trying to bring in notes, I can't go in there and say it. And one of them they say is actually Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise has one, right? Tom Cruise keeps one as supposedly a pet. They talk about a South Park episode that they made fun of him where he wanted to have sex with fish. That was based on his fascination with this. And of course, the third thing that the Americans will do if we can't turn it into a weapon and we can't keep it as a pet and breed it, we'll eat it. And that's supposedly the third thing. Yeah, man.
Oh my God,
yeah,
bro,
supposedly,
come
man,
on.
Out there in California, bro, at these parties, they go into these I don't
That's
want to call
wild.
them I don't want to call them Illuminati parties or whatever. They go in, I call it more like satanic parties or whatever, where they pray and they have them laid out on tables to eat them. And again, you would dismiss that as that's just too far for the mind to grasp.
Oh no.
But every time a celebrity gets in trouble, his chef dies. Every time. Every time. Barack Obama, George Bush, Hillary Clinton, all of a sudden, and they die like in a swimming pool, not like from old age or like that. They die surfing or they die something like that, right? Yeah.
Something wet. Yo,
Yeah. So, yeah, brother.
Libby, on the way out, I'm gonna share a story with you. And people are gonna look at me different after today. I have never shared this story on the show, but you pulled it out of me. It's not only in Hollywood. Please don't think of me any different. So I did an episode on Disney. It's called Lying, like Lion King. I did 2 episodes of that, and it's only in audio format because I was not doing video back then. It was within the first 100 episodes of the show. I was obsessed with it. So there is a thing where the Pirates of the Caribbean in Anaheim, Disneyland, the original park, they got donations from colleges. No, I'm sorry. They got somebody's knocking at the door. I'm sorry. Sorry about that, bro. I'm gonna edit this part out. It was a mermaid. No, it's probably my daughter. Colleges got donated body from prisons where they experimented on, and then they, like UCLA, USC, then they donated those bodies onto Disneyland so that Disneyland can use the bodies, the real skeletons in the Pirates of the Caribbean. The ride. Hashtag look it up. Now check this out. This is the story part. I was in Koreatown in downtown LA a long time ago. And this is where I was in the scene, in the lingerie scene, I want to say in the adult industry scene. And I had just hooked up with this girl. The night after, my friend and I went out to drinking again. We went to the House of Blues. We saw a rock band, and I was gonna hook up with this other chick, and we went to a laundromat. It's called Chicken of the Cave, and it's funny. The laundromat, it's in Koreatown, and it's a tiny ass laundromat, bro. And behind the laundromat, there was these Chinese curtains dangling down, and then we went through that curtain, and it was a whole ass lounge, like a whole ass freaking lounge. And I'm talking about like a bar lounge. So they came and they brought us like bread, and then he brought us a little jar with a mini cobra in it. And then it was serving us little cobra drinks. We got fucking wasted, bro. Then he brought us this, I called it alligator meat. It was a plate of meat. And it had like two little flags on it, like little stickies, and it had the names and what it was and donated bodies. It was human bodies, bro.
Damn.
I tried human quadricep that night. Expensive. I'm not a cannibal. I've never practiced it again. So if you find these places, I think it's illegal now. If you find these places serving human quadricep, which means leg, by the way, at freaking lounges in hidden laundry mats in Koreatown, what do you think these people are doing? I did an episode called Abramovic. Abramovic is an episode based on, what's her name? Rusilla Abramovic,
Yeah.
stupid crazy witch.
Yeah.
And she takes on people and does these body dinners where you go eat and eat people's bodies.
Yeah.
And it's an art form. You know what was one of her first expeditions? She went and she had a group of people in a room. She got naked and then she put a bunch of things to torture her in front of her, and everybody would come and torture her purposely with like a freaking rose with thorns and a knife and a rope and different things that would just to torture her, and that was the art form, like the art exploration thing. Yeah. So after that, she started building a thing for cannibalism and shit. This is just guys things that you could find on the internet, but I don't want you guys to think I'm a cannibal. I'm not a cannibal. I'm just giving you an example. If you can find human quadricep donated body parts at a freaking lounge in Koreatown, I'm sure that you can find it in Hollywood. That's all I'm saying, guys.
Oh, so another thing too, man. Like it's not only that, man. It's that when you start peeling back these layers, right? Like these, I tell people, man, that a lazy conspiracy theorist, man, won't ever go that extra mile, right? And to prove their point beyond a reasonable doubt, right? For example, I'll say George Bush Sr., right? People talk about what he is and what he was. And people argue with it. Just go look at who his father was, and it makes everything perfect sense of what it is. They won't ever go that extra mile. For example, that Abramovic chick, right? I actually think, bro, that she is actually either a succubus. I'm not joking when I say this, man. She is either a succubus or that she is a willingly demon possessed herself, right? Because she is also a extreme role model for Lady Gaga, who is the most satanic chick on the planet right now, but right beside Beyonce, believe it or not. And she also does a whole lot of other they call it spirit cooking is what they do, right?
That was the word I was looking for. Yeah.
You're looking for, right? She also does a whole lot of other very, very, very evil, and this will get yanked off YouTube we have to talk about this on Rumble, man. Sexual stuff, right? Very, very weird and ritualistic, right? That's the perfect. I'll leave it at that, right? And she is hella ugly, man. She looked like somebody drug her behind a Jeep, man, for like 100 yards, man, or 100 miles down the highway. That's what I think she looks like, right? And she is just beat up from the floor up, right? And so, yeah, man, and there's something
beat up from the floor up.
Yeah, man, she's tore up from the floor up, bro, man. She tore up from the floor up, dude. And I tell you, man, that's when, like, I tell people all the time when I get into my, like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy, right? I'm not, right? I don't go into conspiracy theories, man. I don't look into them. And the reason why I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy is because I do think that those things happen, right? But a conspiracy theorist will never admit defeat. He will never admit, it's a clone. They'll tell me, like, oh, trust the plan. It's going on 20 years. It's a big plan. Okay.
It's a big plan.
Yeah. So I don't want, like, I want to be friends with everybody, dude. I don't want to get into it with them, but like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy. Having said that, though, just because you don't think something is real doesn't mean it's not real. You don't believe in Satan. They pray to this dude. That's the thing I try to tell people all the time. You don't think the devil is real? They think you're stupid. That's their God, right? And that is you can't go from any farthest possible realms. Like you think he's not real, they pray to this thing, right? And they will murder for it, and they will kill for it, and they do the things that they do,
And they do.
they do the things that they do, bro, and they do it because they think they're serving him, and he's giving them permission to do it, and they enjoy doing it. So this whole thing about these mermaids and there's a reason why our histories is so convoluted and so broken down, right? It's because they want us stupid. They want you to work till you're 70.
They want you to consume the Jurassic Park where they genetically spliced dinosaurs and now they weaponize them in Jurassic World to be a super soldier. They just told you what they're doing.
Yeah. They want you to work till you're 70 and they want you dead at 71. Period. They don't, that's exactly what they want, right? Because we are, I'll say you, like I'm not one of them. We are breeders and feeders, right? I've literally heard them say it. I've been at those parties, man. I've been there, right? Heard them say it. And I thought to myself, like, wow, right? And again, they lose in the end. But yeah, Treb, not to get, we can do another, we can run it back another time, man. But yeah, bro.
And that, ladies and gentlemen.
Stay on top of these mermaids. Oh, and in closing,
Yeah.
They always show up where witchcraft is at. Always. Jamaica. The water babies up in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is the most satanic state in the United States of America. Period.
Shut the front door.
Yeah. So I did an episode on the Beast of Bray Road, but I just went 30 miles in all 4 cardinal directions. And all 4 miles was just nothing but fiduciary, man. This crazy witchcraft stuff. Wisconsin has the single largest concentration of satanic churches. The next state that can come close to competing with them was North Carolina, Asheville. Asheville had 3 satanic churches. And if you know what they were doing at the Biltmore House, that's a whole nother story. And you know where those crazy floods hit. And if anybody watching this, do not bring your sob stories, because I grew up at the foot of that mountain on the Tennessee side in Johnson City, Tennessee. I used to have to go up and through Asheville, back down to go into North Carolina. So I know all about the stuff you do. I don't look like you guys, but I grew up like you did. I'll tear you up. But yeah, Trebles, everywhere they show up, Jamaica, Haiti, bro. Oh, crazy. Haiti, bro. Africa. There's all voodoo.
A lot of cannibalism in Haiti.
Yeah, it's all voodoo, bro. Everywhere there's voodoo or witchcraft, these things are concentrated the most. And what were the Watchers' wives known for doing? Cutting roots, sorcery, witchcraft. They were taught by who? Their husbands, specifically Semjaja. Anyways, Trebles, we could talk for an hour.
Wait.
We could talk for another hour, bro.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is the Ancient Enigma Files host, Joe. Yo, dude, that was an amazing round of a freaking applause, man.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, do not forget to check him out. He's in the description of the show. On YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment, and highly suggest to hashtag look it up, and do not be afraid of the depths. Oh yeah, I'm just playing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace. That was fucking